information.
There's a place right across town whenever you're ready.
Anyway, we talked a moment ago about people moving here. We talk about inventory, real estate. One of the lowest numbers I've seen, 618 houses. This number keeps going down. And so far, through yesterday, and of course, all sales at the end of the month would not have been reported because I looked this up at about 5:30 last night. So there will have been a lot of sales that were completed yesterday that just hadn't made it into the system. So I'll see how that number changes. But as of last night, we had sold 509 homes in the month of September. And last September, again, before COVID, we only sold 464. So you see,
Wow,
even with the virus running around and all the things that we're having to do and be cautious about, our sales are still above last year, which was a very good year. Well, this year is even better. But you see 509 homes, 600 on the market. You've got a little over a month's supply of homes, and that's not a good scenario. But at any rate, real estate is moving and doing well. And we talk about this too.
You could call it hot, couldn't you?
It is hot, but it's hot for a seller.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a seller has to live somewhere, generally. So the problem with a lot of sellers, and I deal with this, is where are they gonna go? And so I keep saying this, but it's true, you better know where you're gonna go and be all set before you put your house on the market, or else you might be caught wondering where you're gonna go. There are a lot of condos available for rent, apartments for rent, and some people are having to move into apartments and condos while they're figuring out where they're gonna move because their properties sell so quickly. So if you don't wanna get caught in that trap, you better do a little planning.
Yeah.
Or else you will maybe get caught in that trap. Planning means a lot of things, and I get caught up in this quite a bit, and this is estate planning. And not financially, I'll get into that, but I get into settling of estates. Various reasons people pass away, their children want to sell their property. In some cases, they want to sell the contents of the property, which we can help. We have a tremendous auction company. Parks has an auction company that's probably the largest in the state of Tennessee. And we have license in other states too, but concentrating mainly on Tennessee. And so in trying to get rid of the property, there are a lot of things that go into that sometimes. Sometimes the children don't want to deal with it, with the contents, we'll say. And I have several ways of getting rid of contents, and I'll tell you about one that we are just completing. The people moved into assisted living, great folks, and they just couldn't obviously take their things. They just had a house that they collected furniture and everything else over 40 or 50 years. And so the children took what they wanted first, which is natural, but there's still a house full of stuff. And they had a garage sale, but garage sales today don't do quite what they used to do. They're not, they're just not the same. But at any rate, so they had a lot of stuff left over. So we did a couple of things. One, we brought in a group called Feed Franklin First. Of course, there's always Goodwill that we can call on, and Goodwill will pick up for us and maybe for everybody, but we have a deal with them where they'll pick up things for free, and they'll come and get them, they'll haul them out, they'll pick them up. You don't have to hire a mover, but Goodwill will come and take certain things, and then in this case that's what we did, and then what was left we call Feed Franklin First, which is a great organization and a hard working organization that will take the contents and then they will give them out as requests come in, and fills a real void here in Williamson County. So Feed Franklin First came in and took basically everything else in the house. And what was left, then I hired a gentleman to come and take a couple of loads, literally to one of the centers around, convenience centers here. I don't want to call them dumps anymore, you know, but convenience centers. And so we got rid of everything in the house, and then I'll hire somebody to come in and clean it up. And so the children really didn't have to do anything. The owners didn't have to do anything except go to the closing table and then have the money transferred to the bank. And that will be done automatically, a wire transfer. So it sounds like a big deal, and it is a big deal for the owners of the house because they didn't have to do anything. We take care of everything, including having the grass cut. I had to keep the grass cut. I had to do all sorts of prep to get the house ready to put on the market. But that's just one of the things we do, and that takes a load off the family because these children are scattered all over the country, and they don't have the time, and in some cases, really the expertise or the know-how, who to call, and that sort of thing.
That's unusual now, isn't it?
It is unusual. It is unusual, but and one of the other things that's most unusual is that in a lot of these cases, well, in all these cases, I pay for those services. I pay to have the yard cut. I pay to have it hauled away. I pay to do whatever we have to do to get this thing ready to sell. I'll get my money back at closing.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, and I'm telling you, I've got a couple. I just closed on a house the other day, and I got a check for $4,400. I had spent $4,400 of my money to get the house ready to go. Had to do some painting, had to do some repair jobs, things like that, and I had put a little over $4,400 had to even put the electricity in my name, which I did, and pay the monthly bill until we got it ready to go. So I do that quite often, and I don't even think about it. I don't think about it twice. I just do it because I know we're going to sell it. I know I'm going to get my money back, and that's a service that you're right, not many people would even consider doing. Not many realtors would.
And from a seller standpoint, they don't think about it either.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, and there's no need. They've got enough on their mind in a lot of cases. Moving is traumatic, especially when you get into this estate situation, and assuming that they're still around and moving into assisted living or moving in with a relative or something. They don't want to have to think about all that stuff. They just don't want to deal with it. It's hard enough to move and go from a 3 or 4 bedroom house to a 1 bedroom assisted living facility around here, or a 2 bedroom. It's just it's tough. So we try to take the sting out of doing that sort of thing. So that's a service that I provide and do it gladly.
those days have gone by, but it's good to see that it still exists.
Yeah. Let me tell you something else that we've talked about, I know, but it's come up twice this week, and that's title insurance. I want to mention this one more time, because a lot of sellers, which typically the sellers will pay for the title insurance, says, what am I doing that for? Why do I care? Well, what can happen is, of course, it's up to the closing attorney to do the deed work and the deed search, title search, to make sure that it's clear, okay, that there are no liens against it and all that sort of thing. But mistakes can happen. And even though a good closing attorney, and we have several good ones here in the county, do their job properly, they didn't do it maybe the previous time. So it's possible that somebody that did it the last sale missed something. And that can rear its head down the line. And it's happened to me a couple of times in my real estate career where 2 sales back, we'll say, a relative realizes that the property has been sold. And they didn't know it because they live out of state, just didn't have a lot of contact with what was going on here. And they said, hey, by the way, 1/3 of that is mine. You know, and then you go, yeah, right. Well, it is, and you search, here it is, you know, and it was missed in the title search. And the title insurance is exactly what it says. It ensures, it protects what you have transferred against liens or any situation might come up like that. It will pay off if it's necessary. It'll pay off that person that says a third of that was mine, or whatever it was. That's where your title insurance comes up. If it didn't, then they come after you. And so you don't want that. Once you sell a property, and buy a property, but certainly once you sell a property, you don't want to have to think about it anymore. It's over, it's done. I know that a lot of times people will say when we sell a house and have a home warranty, the seller will say, now does that obligate me? I said, absolutely not. That's the whole point. It doesn't obligate you. The warranty takes over. And it's just like that title insurance. If you pay for it and it's on there, which it's 100% generally here in Williamson County, you don't have to worry about it anymore. You don't want to have to think, well, I got my money now for my property. I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder if, nothing is going to. If it does, you're covered. And so, if nothing else, it's peace of mind. It's certainly good protection for the buyer, but it is good protection for the seller as well.
So that home warranty and that title insurance, well worth the money.
It really is, and warranties, there are many warranty companies. I think that's one of the things you'd have to sort of research to make sure you're using a good one. Warranty companies several years ago would come in, and let's say you had a central heat and air unit that wasn't working, and they'd come in and they said, wow, this compressor is bad, and it's 12 years old. So they start to try to prorate the thing or say, it only has a lifespan of 5 years. We're not going to pay for it. It's 7 years out, and you go, wait a second, because that defeated the purpose. You had that comfort zone of knowing you had a warranty if something went wrong. So anyway, with so many realtors' input over the years, these warranty companies have said, if it's bad, we'll repair it, replace it, whatever we have to do. They don't look at it anymore and say, gosh, this thing's so old, it was time to go out anyway. If it's bad, they fix it. So it's a really good thing to have, and it's a peace offering almost from the seller to the buyer to let them know that hey, your air's covered, heat's covered for a year, plumbing, electrical, things like that. So at any rate, there's some good things that we can talk about. There's a lot of things we don't cover due to lack of time.
Does it cover termites?
No.
No. But there is insurance for that.
Yes, that's right. We'll talk about that next time. In the meantime, if you want to talk about real estate or any aspect of real estate, give me a call, Loy Hardcastle at Bob Parks Realty, 615-790-7400. We'd love to talk to you.